Yeah, maybe I'll bring this down here so you don't have to worry about the sun. Because that sunlight comes in the window and it blocks me. But I want to give you guys a good view. And I wanted to chop up some game. Chop some game up this morning with y'all. Let me see if I can do that. Chop up a little game. All right, now, those of you who know me, know that my background is in engineering, biomedical engineering. More specifically, the maintenance of medical equipment, what we call healthcare technology management. And I love what I do. I fix the machines that fix people, right? I help doing that. In my quest to find therapy for my son, when my son was diagnosed on the autism spectrum about 14 years ago, we spent a lot of money, I spent a lot of money on so-called specialists, autism specialists, experts. And we tried a number of different therapies. We tried chelation, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, you name it. The chelation was kind of effective. It was very effective, actually, at relieving my son of the mercury toxicity that I believe had resulted from thimerosal in his MMR vaccine. Well, I'm not sure, but I do know that the onset of his autism symptoms occurred right at the time of taking the MMR vaccine. And but nevertheless, regardless of where it came from, it is the responsibility of the parents, right, and the people involved to try to help the child overcome the conditions known as autism. So I did. And then in the therapies, finding among the therapies, I found most effective neurofeedback therapy, or what we might call EEG, electroencephalograph biofeedback therapy. And being that I have a history in biomedical equipment maintenance, I decided to study neurofeedback. And I was graciously allowed to study neurofeedback by the Opmers at the, which used to be in Woodland Hills, California. And now allowed me to study and become certified in neurofeedback. And for that reason, I started the Biomed RX Health Center. Now, in the process of providing therapies for people, mainly for children who are suffering from autism, I discovered other therapies that were very effective. And I learned how to perform those therapies as well. Namely, biomagnetic pair therapy. See, I'm trying to block the sun without blocking the camera. And I'm having marginal success with it. But anyway, biomagnetic pair therapy, neurofeedback was the first therapy. I learned how to work with energy work, right? And I learned a lot about dietary benefits, things that you can do to benefit yourself dietarily. Black seed oil, blackstrap molasses, the haritaki, the normal holistic health remedies, right? That people consider. And I was able to help a lot of people. I was able to help recover a lot of children from autism, which is really what I set out to do. I set out to help my son recover from the symptoms known as autism, and I was fortunate enough to be able to bless other children, other families, with help for their children. Now, in that process, I started to notice that certain common archetypes of clients would come in, right? Certain types of people would come in normally. Now, they say that autism is the engineer's child's disease. Okay? Were parents who were engineers. A lot of my clients were people from India or Pakistan or wherever that were here on work visas, that were working in .coms or engineering in some fashion, or it seems to be that way, pretty common. I don't know. When I was in high school, I was told not to play with sunglasses because if you were to impregnate someone and have a kid while your iris was distorted from wearing someone else's glasses, then that child will be born needing glasses. I don't know. Maybe that could be just an old wives' tale or whatever. I don't know. Old hood wisdom. But I do know that my oldest son was conceived when I was a young troop in the military, and he's a stud. And my youngest son is a stud too. So either way, I don't know. But I did notice that trend. And then I noticed that being a holistic health provider, I found that I would also have other types of common clients, right? Other types of clients would commonly come in to me as a holistic provider. One type would be other holistic health providers. Another type would be, I guess you'd call them yuppies, hippie yuppie scum, I don't know. Another type, there's a certain type that likes to consider themselves earthy and herbal tea-ish and whatever, and so they like to be, involved in energy healing and energy healers, or they want to, I guess it's hip or in vogue to be involved, and that's cool. Have their doctors have given up on. Okay, let's just put it that way. The medical establishment has pretty much given up on them, either because there's nothing wrong with them, and they have a sense of Munchausen syndrome of constantly complaining in order to get attention for themselves, or most of the time it's because the patient who was abandoned by the doctors doesn't recognize that they are the cause of their own problems. Here, even for the money, doctors are not here. Okay? So, and being that I work on the brain, I work with neurofeedback, I work with neocortical dysregulation. In other words, I work with addicts and alcoholics and people suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and people suffering from the unholy trinity of anxiety, stress, and depression. Okay? And, the problem with a lot of these people is that they think they know more than they do know, right? And so you can see why a doctor or a physician would get frustrated in their own distress. They're causing their own problems. For starting a business, is just to make money. And on the surface, that is the truth. On the surface, that is true. I'm not going to say that that's not the truth. However, when you're dealing with someone like myself who has several businesses, then that's not necessarily always the truth. Now, I already had a successful biomedical engineering company, BioMedRx, before my son was diagnosed on the autism spectrum. And the lion's share of the revenue for the BioMedRx Corporation as a whole comes from healthcare technology, right? Which is what we discussed in the beginning of this conversation, right? The maintenance of medical equipment, inspection of isolated power systems in hospitals. The purpose of the Biometrics Health Center for me was to their parents who were in the same desperate situation that I was in when I discovered that my son was diagnosed on the spectrum. Okay? And it wasn't necessarily for profit, right? I mean, I don't need to have someone on my table in order to be fed. So it's not like, all clients are good clients, because all clients are not necessarily good clients. Especially when it comes to the problematic clients, problematic people. Okay? Now, when you are an energy healer, and a biomagnetic pair therapist is an energy healer, it is important to protect your energy. Because if you are not strong, if you are not robust, if you are not healthy, if you are not balanced, then you cannot help anyone else. It's that simple. You can't help anyone else unless you have your shit together. And that's a simple fact. And that involves sometimes, very often, avoiding problematic people. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you another aspect within which this gets complicated. When you're dealing with the brain, you're dealing with neurofeedback, you're dealing with the brain, you're dealing with neocortical dysregulation. The neocortex, the outside skin of the brain, the wrinkly part, right, tends to become dysregulated as a result of the experience of powerful emotions. The overaccumulation of this dysregulation is what we call PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. Well, just like when you go to a 12-step program, Alcoholics Anonymous, whatever meeting, an AA meeting, you listen to people tell their stories. The common thread in their stories is how their addiction changed their character. Their addiction changed their character, and as a result, they lost their wife, they lost their job. It's like a country song, right? They lost their dog, they lost their truck, and addiction causes neocortical dysregulation, or perhaps neocortical dysregulation causes addiction. It doesn't matter, right? The relationship is that they both exist concomitantly, simultaneously, right? And this affects a person's character. This is why you don't want to have drug addicts around, because they steal and they lie, and there's all of these despicable character aspects of being involved with a person who's got an addiction going. So when you're trying to help people overcome dysregulation, sometimes you have to dig down inside and find an incredible amount of patience for their disrupted characters. Okay? And I can't believe I'm even having to talk about this, because I shut down the Biometrics Health Center over a year ago, right? But I've still got clients who come to me and have come to rely on me as their healer. And I do appreciate that. That is very gracious. title to have been given by people, especially people who are in distress, right? But there's a thin line between being someone's healer and being someone's savior. And I'm not your savior. I didn't get into this to be anyone's savior. And I don't intend to being anyone's savior. So, especially problematic people who cause their own problems, who are the cause of their own problems because of their own habits, like drugs and or alcohol. Okay? I mentioned on my last video that if you are serious about overcoming an addiction, I can seriously help you. But it would require me, number one, to have my health center open. Okay? Because you have to have a place to go to every day. I cannot do this treatment remotely. And secondly, it requires a commitment from you to heal thyself, to heal yourself, right? To do what you have to do in order to find wholeness, in order to detoxify your body and to find peace and cleanliness. I'm not a miracle worker. And just because I do that which the regular quote-unquote medical doctors do not do does not mean that what I do is magic. It is not magic. It's biomagnetic pair therapy. It's energy healing, okay? First of all, like I said on my last video, you have to be full of water in order to benefit from biomagnetic pair therapy. And you cannot be full of water and full of your drug of choice at the same time. You simply can't. You simply can't. And the fact that a person would still be indulging in whatever their drug of choice is while asking me to heal them, while asking me to help them, is just insulting. It's insulting. It's insulting to me. It's insulting to yourself. It's insulting to the protocol. It's insulting to God. And I personally don't appreciate it. I'm just going to keep it real. I personally don't appreciate it. So, sometimes when trying to help people who are suffering, especially suffering here in the head, sometimes they're also suffering here in the heart. They're suffering in the character. And they can be selfish, and they can be inconsiderate, and they can be short-sighted, and they can be basically just undesirable human beings to be involved with, to be straight up with you. Problematic people, there's always a problem. They can't seem to get out of their own way. They can't seem to stop stepping on their own dick. They can't seem to stop finding themselves in a problematic situation and in need of someone to rescue them or someone to help them or someone to fix them. And, the type of help that I could give people in those situations, I'm not licensed to give. I'm not licensed to give talk therapy. So I'm not even going to step into telling a person, about themselves. I'm not even about to start listening to their problems, even though people find themselves so comfortable in my presence that they just have to share all of their crap with me. I am not licensed to help you with your talk therapy problems. Now, I have a Rolodex of people that you can go to if you need therapy, and you can find a talk therapist. And if you're undergoing alpha theta neurofeedback, which means you're bringing your subconscious thoughts and unprocessed emotions to your conscious mind, then yeah, I do recommend you find someone that you can talk to and help you resolve issues. But I'm not that person. I'm not that person, and I'm not even claiming to be that person, and I'm not even trying to be that person. And people get me mistaken because I am a kind-hearted person, because I am a gregarious person, because I am a loving person, because I'm the kind of person who says, welcome, and let me commit my energies to helping you become whole. They become addicted to my energy, and then my energy becomes a part of what they count on, right, in order to maintain. But while they're trying to maintain, they're still maintaining their old habits. They're still deliberately participating in the behavior that is destructive to themselves. I can't make that personal decision for you to take care of yourself. I can't do that. You have to decide that for yourself. To go beyond that which I can provide is no longer compassion. It then becomes codependency. And that's the thin line that I want everyone to get from this video, from this live. That is the thin line that I want everyone to understand, right? Because those of us who were raised in the church, and we were all, most of us, many of us were raised in the church, raised by our parents to have good values, right? To be compassionate and to be loving and to be giving, to have faith, to have hope, and to have charity, right? To have love in our hearts for others, right? That's the challenge, right? Being loving, being a loving person, being a charitable person, being a giving person, but not becoming a codependent. You see what I'm saying? Because narcissists recognize good people and good-hearted people, and they recognize it as fuel for their narcissistic supply, right? They recognize it not as a good person that they can come back and be good to in return. No, they recognize it as fuel. This is a person who's kind, who has the sincere desire to do good and to help people and to be loving. And so since I haven't learned to confront my own demons and I haven't learned to straighten up my own character, I'm going to take that person's love and I'm going to use it as a peg to support my addiction. It really does happen like that. It's really that bad, okay? Trust me, becoming a healer is a very complex situation. It's very, very complex, okay? Like I said, you start off helping children and everything is good and fine. Then you help some veterans and you figure, okay, the veteran is coming back. I'm a veteran, combat, you got PTSD, whatever. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you man to man, because if your PTSD gets out of hand, I can put you back in check, right? So, that gives me an extra qualification for helping my combat veterans overcome PTSD, okay? PTSD kind of holds hands with addiction. A lot of veterans come back, they have PTSD, and they become addicts, right? Granted, okay, so no problem. I'll help you overcome your addiction. But when it comes to addiction, that involves behavior that you deliberately and intentionally indulge in. And therefore, you are going to have to show a little bit of stoicism. You're going to have to muster up a little bit of manhood so that you're for yourself. And as long as you think it's acceptable to hold on to your drug or to hold on to your booze or to hold on to whatever, then don't come to me for healing. That's disrespectful. That's very, very disrespectful. Okay? I have to reject you for the same reason that the members of the professional medical community have rejected you. Because you're not a person who can be helped until you make the decision to help yourself. And, so there you go. As a holistic health practitioner, you may have to deal with some doctors' rejects. That's right, rejects. Rejects from the doctors. I said it, and I don't care who likes it. Rejects from medical doctors. And those people, especially when they come to you and say, nothing works, right? I've tried this, I've tried that, and I'm still depressed, or I'm still anxious, or I'm still whatever, but I've tried this and nothing's worked, and I've tried that and nothing's worked. Well, Number one, you have internalized the identity of being a person with a problem. That happens a lot. When you see people come to you with the whole nothing's ever worked, then what they're preparing to tell you is that this is not going to work either. And you're going to end up risking your reputation trying to help problematic people. Risking your reputation trying to help people who, in many respects, have already determined that nothing is going to work. It has become a part of their identity, their ailment, their problem. They don't even know who they would be if they were better. If you came and helped them, they would have to go and redefine themselves to every person in their life, because it's taken a long time. If they're saying nothing's worked before, then that means that they have spoken to everybody they know, their mama, their spouse, their kids, their cousins, their friends, everybody they know about whatever their ailment is, their depression, their specific special kind of addiction, or their specific special kind of anxiety or whatever that is so incurable. So now, even if you did help them, they have a large task, because now they have to go and redefine themselves to every person they know. It's easier for them to keep saying nothing's helped, nothing's worked. You see? And that's another type of problematic client that you may come across. Okay? Once again, usually, because I'm an astute observer of human behavior, usually I can find, in my opinion, what would be the source of that person's distress. But once again, I am not licensed to help a person with talk therapy. I'm not licensed to help you that way. So I can give you my personal opinion and tell you what I think, and you will probably be offended at what I say, because I am blunt and I am very direct. Okay? But once again, you're going to take that offense, and you may actually turn around and complain about me for providing talk therapy without a license. So I would rather just tell you simply, respectfully, I am not licensed to give you that type of help. I can help you with your pH. I can help you with detoxifying your body. I can help you with ridding your brain of dysregulation. And I can help you straightening up your diet. And I can even help you with reference to exercise. But talk therapy, I can't. All right? So that was my little rant while I was on the way to LA, right? I called you guys. I went live on the freeway, and now here I am rolling through the streets of LA. That was my little holistic health practitioner rant that I had to get off my chest this morning. I appreciate being appreciated by my clients, and I appreciate being sought by people who need help. But you must also understand that you may not like the flavor of what it is that I give you, because I really don't have time or energy to waste. Even if you're paying me, I don't need the money. I really do not have time or energy to waste on people who are holding on to their problems and expecting my care to be a supplement to self-inflicted injury and self-inflicted ailment. So that was the coffee time rant. That was the coffee time rant for this Thursday morning. I hope you guys appreciated it. Now, on a lighter note, we are at the point of forming spiritual ambassadorships to the beings of other energy systems. And as we explore other energy systems, we have to also understand that we are exploring other dimensions. We have a very good situation that we're in, being human, because we're physical as well as spiritual. And I believe that gives us a special purpose, right? That we're designed to bring the kingdom of God here to the earth where we live. It is our right, it is our desire, and it is our responsibility. And in doing this, we must not only overcome such base challenges as addiction, we have to become so centered in ourselves that we can actually practice what we call remote viewing, that we can actually come outside of our physical bodies and practice what we call astral projection. And this is a skill that can be learned by everyone, right? There are tools that you can use. You can listen to the audio files from the Monroe Institute Gateway Experience, right? You can go on YouTube and find audio files. Just look for the Gateway Experience. I can't vouch for how pure or clean the files are, especially if they're bootleg files. And I have a lot of honor and respect for the Monroe Institute, and I would not recommend that anyone bootleg copyrighted information from the Monroe Institute. I suggest you spend the $550 or whatever it costs and get yourself a copy of the Gateway Experience and actually listen to the audio files. You will be practicing listening to binaural beats. You will be practicing gradually higher and higher levels of focus, what we call focus 2, focus 5, focus 4, focus 10. And as you practice these different levels of focus, you're going to find really strange things happen with regard to your consciousness. You're going to find that you are able to remember things. You probably will find knowledge available to yourself through the ether that you did not know was available to you. You will develop an understanding of your mind, not only as a computer, but as a computer that's hooked up to the web. When I say the web, I'm talking about the infinite source of knowledge and energy. I believe Tesla talked about it. Well, of course, all of the religions talk about it as God. But Tesla talked about it, that his mind was a conduit to the infinite source of knowledge. And this is one of the benefits of being both physical and spiritual. So, those of you who are following me on these channels, I appreciate it if you can not only stay away from drugs, which is obvious, but also keep your body pure, do a lot of sweating in the sauna, drink a lot of water, take DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide, mix it with zinc, iodine, sea kelp iodine, magnesium. You want to make sure if you're sweating in the sauna, you want to make sure that you are replenishing your minerals. They're actually more important than the vitamins, and keep your body clean. Okay, take Haritaki, Kadukai Podi, Haritaki, Haritaki. Okay, teaspoon of it, right, every morning. It'll cleanse your blood. It'll cleanse your brain. It'll cleanse your pineal gland. All right, it'll cleanse your third eye. Stop using fluoride toothpaste. Stop ingesting fluoride. Make your ice out of drinking water. Don't make your ice from the tap. boil your potatoes and pasta and your boiled eggs and everything else that you cook using bottled water. Don't use tap water. It's not good for you, and it's not good for anything. And it calcifies your pineal gland. The pineal gland is the main secretor of serotonin. And serotonin is the substance, the endorphin. Serotonin is the substance that allows you to recognize another person's emotions by their facial expression. It's also very important for your self-esteem, believe it or not. Serotonin is a self-esteem chemical. And if you have a calcified pineal gland because you're ingesting fluoride in your toothpaste and in the tap water and from ice cubes and whatever, then it's difficult to connect with other people on a spiritual or emotional basis. It's easy to spiral when you get into conflict with another person because you don't recognize, you can't monitor and gauge their emotional state, and neither can they yours. And so the conversation spirals in the negative direction. That happens a lot, right? You lose the capacity for empathy. So it's very important to keep your pineal gland clean. It's very important not to ingest fluoride. It's very important to take your Haritaki. It's very important to take dimethyl sulfoxide, DMSO. DMSO promotes autophagy, the body's method of eating itself, the body's method of consuming dead and damaged cells so that they don't reproduce and form cancerous tumors. So autophagy, DMSO, and all of this is very good for preventing this, right? Continue to cleanse your body. Continue to cleanse your mind. If you cannot get some binaural beats, if you can't get the gateway files, which is, you can get many of them for free, practice binaural beats on your own. There are a number of binaural beats that you can listen to. But I think the Monroe Institute, the libraries from the Monroe Institute will probably be the best place to start. What else was I going to go over? Meditation, the gateway process. Dr. Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer. Okay, he's a traumatologist. He's an ER doctor in Arizona. Well, I'm going to be meeting him pretty soon. I'm going to try to meet him. I wish I was still on the radio. I would invite him to my radio show on AM 590. But Stephen Greer, Dr. Greer, is probably the foremost or one of the foremost experts in UFOlogy. And he has been using the remote viewing practice in combination with other people to summon UAPs physically east of where I live and very far east of where I am right now in the desert in California. And from what I understand, UFOs and other beings have been appearing. So it's a very interesting time to be alive. And, we're hearing about UFOs all the time and UAPs. A lot of people are thinking that, this is in vogue now because the government or the powers that be are planning some type of fake UFO invasion. I think the program was called Project Bluebeam. Which is supposed to be scheduled for this month, actually. Supposed to be scheduled for the 22nd and 23rd of this month. A planned fake UFO invasion. So, be ready for it. And, of course, this is supposed to be so devastating that it's going to make the Maui wildfires look like a walk in the park. but they're going to be blaming UFOs and extraterrestrial beings, and they're going to say that we need to come together as one world and have a one world government and a one world military, which is probably why Trump started the Space Force in the first place. And so we're going to have to give up more rights. We're going to have to give up more freedoms and all the rest of that. So everyone's taking the UFO stuff with a grain of salt. But from what I understand, a lot of our advanced technology has come to us from communication with beings from other energy systems and from outside of our ice walls. And the ability to transform human life as we know it, meaning to live without having to pay for energy, right? Just a simple 0 point energy, accomplishing 0 point energy is going to be transformative for human existence on Earth, right? Very soon after having free energy, we probably will not have a need for war or any of the conflicts that we're facing as a human species. And the people who are on top are fighting to maintain their position on top once the world rolls over into the next phase of human evolution. And we're on the cusp of that, okay? But that is going to require us to outgrow our governments. Yep, voluntary compliance with the governments of the world is being threatened right now. And they know it. That's why they're fighting to have as much control as they can, because they realize that we're getting to the point where we're not going to need them. We're not going to need them to govern our lives. We're not going to need them to send us to war and to kill. And we're not going to need them to exploit the human species for resources. And that era is going to come through us communicating with beings from wherever on our own, without clearance from the government, without having a conduit, without having any type of special authority being granted to us by anyone. And that's what this is all about. So you are doing the human race, for lack of a better word, a favor by getting your shit together, by being a healthy person, by being a strong person, by being clean, physically clean, by working on your body as well as your mind, by decalcifying your pineal gland, by purifying your body. Fasting is very important. Actually, I'm probably 2 weeks overdue for a fast. So I'm saying this sincerely from the heart because I'm feeling the effects. Fasting is very important. How do you fast? Well, start off with haritaki and tart cherry juice. Massage your gallbladder. Get the stones out. Get the gallstones out. Right? Cleanse out your digestive tract. Do that for the first 2 days. Third day, bentonite clay. With bentonite clay, you're removing the heavy metals from your body. Give yourself a day or two of just ingesting calcium, bentonite clay, food grade bentonite clay. Don't get the bentonite clay that you bathe in, right? Don't get sodium bentonite clay and ingest it. Only ingest the calcium bentonite clay, or what we call food grade bentonite clay. All right, shake it up in water and digest it. It's going to pull out a lot of heavy metals from your body. It's going to make you feel great. If you have alcohol in your body, it will not allow you to keep it. It will force you to flush it out of your body. It will get rid of a lot of toxins, and it'll also starve and kill parasites that might be in your digestive tract. So, Haritaki with tart cherry juice, bentonite clay, okay? And if you get past those 2 or 3 or 4 days of fasting, and bentonite clay is also a very good reminerator, right? So if you're starving yourself, if you're fasting, you once again are not receiving minerals. Being that bentonite clay, or what they call milorganite, comes from volcanic ash, has a negative magnetic charge, okay? It also has a lot of minerals from the earth. So it'll keep you from feeling depleted while you're fasting, right? It'll actually help you go a little bit longer, right? So give the cherry juice with Haritaki 1 day or 2. Give bentonite clay 1 day or 2. And wheatgrass. Give yourself some wheatgrass, all right? And when you take wheatgrass, you're going to notice it alkalizes your body very powerfully, very quickly. You're going to notice little pimples coming out in your face. Those are pimples that were already in you. Those were toxins that were already in you, just dying to come out. And the wheatgrass pushes it out, right? So most people don't fast for 4 days in a row. But if you can go without food for 4 days, remember tart cherry juice with Haritaki on the first day, bentonite clay on the second, or the second phase, okay? And wheatgrass on the third, okay? And if you have the ability to continue your fast after that, then just drink a lot of water, take some blackstrap molasses. Blackstrap molasses is good. Black seed oil is written about in the Quran. It heals, it cures everything except death, right? Black seed oil, these are very good things to take while you're fasting. And of course, exercise, drink a lot of water, and that's about it. So we're going to be talking a lot more about the out-of-body experience or remote viewing, especially with regards to not only contacting extraterrestrial beings or whatever, extraterrestrial entities, but also for what we call patterning. Patterning is actually writing things into your life, writing successes into your life, writing coincidences into your life, patterning your future and actually creating it. And you can also do this with the gateway process. You can also do this with these higher levels of meditation. So anyway, here I am in Beverly Hills. I got to get busy. I have things to do. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Stay kind, because kind is not only the new sexy, kind is the only damn sexy. Remember that. Stay blessed and stay healthy. Have a wonderful day. Peace.